Welcome to the Finding Awareness YouTube channel. In today's audience question, we are asking, can you suggest some empowering practices to build mental and emotional strength? Can you suggest some empowering practices to build mental and emotional strength? Firstly, we have to ask ourselves, what takes away mental and emotional strength? Now, obviously, we want some strength, but what has taken it away? What has taken it away is fear and anxiety taking over the mind when there is a challenge, isn't it? Somebody says something at work, okay, and I become scared, and I am constantly doubting myself, and I shut down. I'm not able to respond to a question somebody's asking. I become anxious. See, when I'm in a group of people, especially people who I do not know, I become anxious. So I have to observe what is taking away my mental and emotional strength. And what is taking away this strength is my fear and my anxiety. That's the first thing. So, if I had the resilience, if I was not afraid, if I did not have that anxiety, I would automatically, as a side effect, have, as a consequence, have mental and emotional strength. It's very clear. So, first, let's look at what are some of the practices that we can cultivate which maintain our resilience to fear and anxiety. Simple enough. So, what are some of the practices which keep fear and anxiety at bay so I can always keep on responding to whatever challenges arising in my life, no matter whether it's in my relationship, no matter whether it's at work, somebody says something and I shut down, I cannot think, I become all confused, or in the relationship, if there is a challenge and I have a fight, I totally either lose my temper, okay, or I shut down, which is I avoid, which is I stop picking up phones, don't have a proper discussion, cannot speak openly, etc. I have certain resentments and anger towards my parents. So when they pressurize me, get married, change your job, buy a house, you need to do better with your life, etc., etc., and I become completely burdened by their pressure and I start avoiding them. So this is what we are trying to get over, correct? Make sense? So what are some of the practices we can instill such that we have emotional resilience? First thing you have to do is, because fear is the culprit, first thing is identify your fears, write them down. Okay, until you write them down, your mind is not going to learn to identify those fears and focus on them when the fear is triggered. See, anxiety is a culmination of various fears, but when one each individual fear is being triggered, what is a fear of authority figures at work, for instance, I'm afraid when somebody strong and powerful, whatever, in the work context, comes into my presence. I become anxious when somebody intelligent is in my presence. So write down. I'm afraid of people with authority. I'm afraid of people who I believe are more intelligent than me. I am afraid of my past being triggered in some way. So write down whatever those individual fears may be. That's the very first thing you do. Very practical, right? Second thing you do is, again related to fears, identify the source of those fears. Identifying fears is one thing, but identifying what the source of those fears is very important. Why? Because your fears will tell you ways in which you are different from your friends, you are different from your siblings, you are different from the people in your life. Where do fears come from? Fears generally come from certain traumatic or painful incidents that have happened to you. Fear come from hurtful incidents. So I'm afraid of connecting with my partner because somebody, my ex-partner, betrayed me. See? And so I have fear and insecurity about trust. Or I have fear and insecurity about trust because my family was not very trusting. I have events or incidents in my past where my father or my mother were suspecting each other. See, and that builds trust issues in me, trust fear in me that somebody is going to betray me. So write down the source of those fears. So let's say you identify four fears. One fear may be I fear about health, I fear about money, I fear about my relationship. Whatever those fears, I write them down. In the second, you write down the source of those fears. What experiences you have had in your life which make you specifically afraid of those fears. Make sense? Very practical so far. Third thing you have to do is you have to start now building stronger habits which create self-reliance in you. See, the reason why you crumble under pressure is because you don't believe in yourself. You have betrayed yourself in the past. You have experiences in your mind which tell you that I am not a reliable person. I start something and I leave it halfway through. I decide, make a decision, choose to walk a certain path, and then I abandon that path in the middle. I don't have a single good habit. I don't meditate every day. I don't journal every day. I don't exercise every day. I don't eat well every day. I don't call my parents every day. I don't respond to my emails or whatever I have to do, whatever responsibilities I have at work. I don't respond quickly enough every day. So I become this person. I have taught myself to become unreliable. See, and if I'm unreliable, my self image is that of an unreliable person. So you have to start becoming a reliable person. You have to start teaching yourself to be reliable, which means what? Cultivate one habit, not 10 different habits. Pick one single habit, work on it, cultivate it. In my view, the simplest habit you can cultivate is meditate every day and journal every day. Spend 10-15 minutes of your time, put a timer on your phone, okay? And until the timer goes off, I am not going to move from here. I'm not going to look at anything. I'm not going to distract myself. I just sit here, either close my eyes or look outside the window, and I just spend time with myself 15 minutes every day. After that, I pick up my notebook and write in my journal whatever I experience, whatever insights I'm having, I write in my journal. There is a fear about something, then write about that journal. There is an idea I have, write about that in the journal. This is what my goals are, write about that in my journal. This is how I envision myself 10 years from now, write about that in your journal. You see, so this is how you build a habit. 30 days into it, you're going to look back and say, I'm a reliable person who can pick up a single habit and stick to it. Make sense? So that's the third thing you're going to do. Fourth thing you're going to do is develop a listening practice. What does that mean? How does that? Listening practice is what is going to prevent your past from being triggered. If your partner is saying something, listen. Are you listening, or are you watching your phone? Or are you thinking about something else? What am I going to eat tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow at work? What am I going to tell my friend? What new joke I'm finding? What new memes are coming up on my phone? You see, you're not listening. You are distracted. And even when you are listening, you are waiting to speak, aren't you? You're waiting for your opportunity to blurt out whatever is in your mind. So you are not listening. Cultivate a habit of unconditional listening with complete and utter focus, total concentration on somebody else's voice. You should not be willing to be deviated from that one pointed focus. Can you do it? If you can do it, then your past will not interfere. You should pay attention to somebody as if God Himself or herself was down here talking to you. Would you not listen with a rapturous attention, with complete and hyper focused mind? That's how you should listen every single time. No exceptions. If you cultivate a strong listening practice, your past will interfere less and less and less. And guess what happens when your past interferes less? Your fear cannot be triggered, because fear is all in the past, all in the memory. So fear cannot trigger. If fear cannot trigger, anxiety cannot be triggered either. And you find yourself in a state of flow where you are spontaneously responding to whatever challenges which are arising. Somebody says something, you're on the spot responding to that person in real time. Listening, it's a big topic, so maybe I'll make a video on listening at some point. But you have to try intentional, undivided, unconditional, totally hyper focused, concentrated listening. Can you do it? If you can, most of your problems are going to disappear from your life. Okay, moving on. Fifth thing you can do is stay away from people who plant self doubt in you. Remove all the naysayers from your life. I know those friends in your life who you love hanging out with, because they reciprocate in a certain way. They understand you in a certain way. You want to go and have drinks with them. You want to go for parties with them. You want to go and have lunches or dinners with them. You want to spend endless hours of time on phone with them because they validate you. They validate you and make you feel as if you are special, you are great. But guess what? Those are the same people who do not want you to change. Those are the same people who rely on you being the same person, exact same person you are, exact same person you have been for the past 5 years, 10 years, into your endless future. They don't want you to change. So the moment you start doing something new, they say, oh, you are getting smart, are you not? You are now going to do this, you are now going to do that. Be careful. Be careful. There's a lot of risk in what you're trying. Be careful before you do this. And they start planting these doubts in your mind, don't they? Sometimes they are just plain unsupportive people who you never get along with anyway, but you just happen to be in their company. Okay, remove such people from your life. You are not being rude to them. You're not doing any disservice. You're actually being compassionate to yourself first. If you can be compassionate to yourself, then you can be compassionate to them. Otherwise, you're just enabling them. Because in most cases, these friends who you are relying upon are also relying on you. Maybe they need to also change their habits. Maybe they need to also question their own lifestyle, their own behaviors, their own rut in which they are stuck. You see, and you are preventing them from moving on. You are preventing them from taking new challenges. You are preventing them from becoming their best self also by being stuck in this mutually self destructive relationship. So, reduce contact or remove these people from your life who are implanting that self doubt in your mind. Make sense? Follow all these practices and you will naturally become extremely self reliant, self trusting, and you will have emotional resilience and strength also. If you have more questions, put them in the comments below. And if you want to understand this psychology, this way of thinking, try and be a member. Join us. We have a beautiful community. It's called Finding Awareness Membership. It is not very expensive. The details can be found in the description. But in any case, leave your questions below. Make sure you follow the page. Make sure you follow this channel so you get future videos. And see you in the next one.